Welcome to the Windows and Computer channel, and today is December 31st, 2018. And yep, last day of this year. Time flies at an incredible speed. So, 2018, I thought I'd do a little review of some of the news items that I thought were important this year. And so, what happened in technology this year? Well, the first one was a shock. We woke up to 2018 in the first few days of January with a massive news. The Intel processors with Meltdown and Spectre flaws that were security flaws at the design level of these CPUs, which made it really difficult to fix because you couldn't change the core design of CPUs. And although at first it was an Intel thing, it pretty much, as we were looking at it in the weeks that followed, we just noticed that all of this affected pretty much every CPU that existed, even those of the ancient times. It is something that was a major surprise. And basically, everyone scrambled to find a way to fix it, at least mitigate the effects. And, well, this is still a work in progress. There were no official fix that can fix it officially. It's really just mitigation and trying to change things so that it doesn't happen. And so there were updates on the microcode and so on. And what we know, well, is that, of course, it's still a work in progress. It unfortunately slowed down a lot of the PCs. But the new fixes coming in the new year might actually help put your PC back at top speed with better fixes that doesn't really impact too much your computer. Google employee walkout, the first of its kind ever, and probably not the last, as the company kind of struggled to, as they talked about the fact that Google, a top executive at Google, had been paid to leave amid sexual misconduct allegations, showing the power of the tech industry employees that just walked out and said, no, this is unacceptable. And Google employees all over the world walked out to protest against the way women are treated in the tech industry. And and this won't be the last. This is a first in a new series of basically ways of protesting against the industry, and it had and will have profound impacts in the future. Well, the first fatality of a self-driving car, the first fatal autonomous car accident happened with a Uber self-driving car hit a woman that was about to cross the street, and of course she died. It sparked a host of investigations, helped change some of the regulations, and make sure that, well, this shouldn't happen again, as self-driving cars are going to be more and more present on the roads. Sorry, I got a little cold, so I have to take a little time. So, anyways, Uber resumed self-driving cars later in the year, and of course, it kind of impacted the industry as a whole in checking out and making sure that they are safer. Well, one of the things that happened this year is the first year that smartphone companies were hit with slower sales. For the first time, instead of increasing sales, 2018 saw the reverse, a reduction in sales of smartphones pretty much everywhere in the world, except a few emerging markets. And of course, two big companies that were hit by this, Samsung with the Galaxy S9, S9 Plus, and Note 9. The iPhone 10 or the iPhone X also hit with slow sales. That prompted Samsung to shut down one of its manufacturing plants in China, and Apple told suppliers, "Hey, gotta slow down because we're not selling as many as we thought." GDPR became law and became in effect on May the 25th, 2018. And it had one interesting aspect to it that we didn't really think of at first. So the new rules of the GDPR to help, of course, personal data, make sure that personal data is safe, make sure also that it's easier for users to get their own personal data off of companies, and introduced a data protection officer. Also, it kind of tells everybody if you have a data breach, you got to announce it immediately as soon as it happens. You can't, just try to hide it. Of course, this changed a lot of the web, and that's why a lot of you probably saw on some of the web pages you were visiting a little something that said, hey, you got to agree with our rules, because for the first time, it actually wanted everybody to know what is happening with your data online. And the unintended consequence of this was that companies, to make sure that, they comply with the rules, well, they just decided, well, let's apply these rules to everywhere around the world. So the European law actually had an effect, a effect everywhere around the world, not just in Europe. Well, it was the battle of the trillion-dollar company this year. Apple became, for the first time, a trillion-dollar company. It was the first to ever achieve this. Now, its stock went down afterwards, but it did, for a while, reach a trillion. Followed by Amazon, that also reached a trillion, and also went down a little bit after that. And one of the interesting moments is that Microsoft, for a brief moment in time, was the most valuable company in the world. For a company that just, 5 years ago was far behind everybody else. What a change. And it's going to be, of course, interesting to see what all this means in the new year. The Bitcoin that had reached around this time last year $20,000 value. Well, in 2018, it pretty much deflated. And through the year, it went down and down and down and down. And this prompted some changes. Some reconsidered. Is it a viable currency? Can you really, get paid in Bitcoin and make sure that it's okay? And also, it showed that cryptocurrency miners were also in a different mode. It showed that cryptocurrency miners might not be a good thing after all, and actually they have lowered. There's less cryptocurrency miners going on right now. And, well, this mean the end, or is it just, a temporary down for the Bitcoin? Net neutrality, yep. It started all in 2017 with the repeal of the net neutrality rules and all of that. And it went pretty much in effect fully in 2018, where net neutrality was gone from the web. And net neutrality, of course, shows that there are still, of course, some, things going on. I know that there's a court of appeals that's happening. It prompted many states to have their own net neutrality rules, including the toughest net neutrality law in California. But it also prompted many ISPs and many of the providers in the United States to slowly change the rules, because now they could pretty much do what they want. So, will this change in 2019? There's little hope, but we gotta, hang on to whatever hope is left. Interesting purchases this year. IBM, that acquired Red Hat for $24 billion, which is kind of interesting. Open source software. Microsoft acquired GitHub for $7.5 billion. Once again, more open source info and code, as the tech giants are just buying companies and trying to make more with everything they have and trying to own the world, basically. So of course, Microsoft and GitHub. Cambridge Analytica scandal. That's a big one too. This showed the world that Facebook, well, the social media giant, is careless with the user data. Basically, Cambridge Analytica had access to almost anything they wanted, and it was a really, really big scandal in itself. It prompted a certain amount of users to shut down their Facebook accounts. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg had to go to Congress and had to talk to governments around the world, saying that oh no, we're going to change and things are going to be better. And all we learned through the year after that is that there were even more and more of these data breach, if you want, or more of using the data in bad ways and showing basically that nothing has changed as we are heading into the new year, and that Facebook is maybe needs to be regulated. We also saw something very peculiar this year. The biggest denial of service attack ever. That distributed denial of service attack, or DDoS. 1.35 terabytes per second of data. It hit GitHub. That was in February. And it actually showed us one thing. Well, Internet of Things devices and obsolete routers are now the driving force behind attacks. And as more and more of them are online and have nothing in security, well, there's going to be bigger and bigger attacks, I guess. We'll see if 2019 will have an even bigger DDoS attack. And with this, well, I want to wish all the viewers of my channel a very happy New Year 2019. The number one thing, I think, for everybody, health. If you got health, I always had someone tell me, an old man that I worked with in the past, and I remember he told me, if you've got health, you can do whatever you want in life, because that's the most important thing. And yeah, it is true. As around me, I've seen a lot of people get sick this year, and you gotta cherish that health that you've got. And of course, I hope everybody will be and will have the best of New Year's 2019. Take care, my friends, and see you in the new year with more videos. Bye-bye.